Hey guys, this week for Weapons Wednesday, we're going to look at some more new weapons on KarateMart.com, including this Dark Night Stun Baton. And you know what that means. I guess I'm going to have to get shocked again. But before we begin, if you could just like this video and subscribe to our channel, that would be awesome. Alright, so the first item I wanted to show off today, which I'm really excited about, is the Black Venom Carbon Steel Katana. And I saw this sword and just fell in love with it. So I'm going to open it up really quick, pull it out of its sword bag, and just show off why it's so cool. Alright, so we named this sword the Black Venom Sword because if you look at it, the Tsuba is just really awesome. It's actually one of the most detailed Tsubas I've ever seen. It's got this snake that just kind of pops out of it. You can see it just kind of like pops out of it, and it is a good quality Tsuba too. Like that's a solid brass Tsuba. So I really like that. And if you just look at the sword, we've got ray skin underneath the wrap, and as you go up the handle, it's got this little snake accent there that I just think is so neat. Now if we look at the blade, so this has a 1095 carbon steel blade, which is a very popular steel to be used on swords. I mean, we sell steel, we sell 1045s, 1060s, we even have like folded spring steel blades, but 1095 seems to be one of the most popular with people who are into swords, just because of its strength and its hardness. But if you look, it's got this clay-tempered hamon line on it, which just can tell you that it's a well-made, well-designed blade. So I really like this. It's hand-forged, just a beautiful sword. So I'm going to go ahead and put that away. Just an awesome sword. So the next item I wanted to show off is this new butterfly knife we just got. And it's not a normal butterfly knife. It's different than one I've ever seen before. So I thought it was pretty cool. So normally we carry just straight butterfly knives. This one has the CSGO curved handle styling, which has gotten really popular over the last few years. But what I really like about this is its coloration. I've never seen one with this style of coloring before. And I'm going to show that off a little bit, but I'm going to show you first this feature that I think is so cool. This is a spring latch, and all you do is you just kind of squeeze the handle and the latch opens, so then you can like really quickly just pop it out, which is so great for butterfly knives. I just love how fast they are. But look at this blade. This is like so awesome. It's got this orange and white and black, and that's why we call it the tiger's claw, is because it's got kind of the coloring similar to a tiger. But yeah, some of the things I like about it is it's got these star type screws on them. And generally what I like to tell people with butterfly knives is that, first off, butterfly knives when you first get them are going to be a little bit slow. Like I can just tell that it's got some loosening up to do on it. But over time you'll get a little bit of play in it, which you'll start to feel in the handle a little bit of play. So you can kind of like tighten those screws. But what I generally like to do is I like to take out the screws. Sometimes I'll replace them depending on the screws. You can get them at a hardware store, just change them out for another small set. But generally it's good to put Loctite in them just so that they don't come out on you. And you can kind of get them to exactly the tightness that you want. And it's just kind of one of the things that I like to do. So other than that, there's not a lot to tell you about this butterfly knife, but it's pretty sweet. I really like the looks of it. So the next item I wanted to show off is the Stealth Polymer Weapons Set. We've actually been selling this for quite a while now, and it's really cool because it's a set of non-metal knives. So if we look at it, you've got these 4 little knives, and they're super light. They're made out of some sort of polymer. It could be a nylon, could be a polypropylene, possibly an acetyl. I'm not exactly sure what they're made of, but they feel pretty strong. So I'm showing these off today because I really wanted to see how strong and how durable they are. Because they're super light and they feel pretty sharp. Like this is a spike knife right here. it's almost got like a kubaton at the end, but it's a spike knife, and it's actually fairly sharp. And then we've got these double-bladed knives here that are pretty awesome. This one almost looks like a dagger or a throwing knife or something. It's a little bit too light to be a throwing knife, but it's pretty neat looking. And then this one's also a double-bladed dagger of some sort. Almost looks like a boot knife. And I guess what I like about this is it's actually got the clip on it, so you could keep it in your boot or in your pocket. So that's pretty cool. And then we've got this ice scraper too, which is pretty sweet. So I want to actually take these out and test them out a little bit just to see if they're going to break on us or if they're actually going to hold up to a little bit of stabbing. So let's check it out. In most of my videos, you'll see that I'll either strike a watermelon, which I don't happen to have any watermelons on me today, or I'll use this old Wing Chun dummy. And it's funny because every time I do some damage to this Wing Chun dummy, I get a few people that comment in the YouTube comments that you're ruining a perfectly good Wing Chun dummy. Well, here's the deal. This Wing Chun dummy was for sale about 10 years ago, and it ended up being defective. It had some little lines on it, some cracks on it, and I was unwilling to send this out to our customers because it just wasn't in good condition. So we chose to keep it, and you'll see in the old videos from like 5-6 years ago that we used it for actually Wing Chun like type techniques. But then over time it got to the point where the wood was cracking more and more, so now we use it for like stabbing and testing out weapons. So it's not like it's a brand new Wing Chun dummy. We're just going to test out some weapons on it. But let's see first this spike knife. It actually feels really, really comfortable. It's got kind of this knurling on the handle, and it's got this like kind of tri-sided blade to it. So let's start with that and just see how well it can stab into this. It's actually pretty solid. And it felt comfortable on my hands too. So if I pull that out, looks like the tip's still in good shape, and it's actually still really sharp. I could probably cut myself with that tip. So I don't know, I really like that knife. All right, and the next one is this little dual bladed, looks like some sort of dagger. So test that out. It's lighter than the other one, so I just want to make sure the blade is decent. Wow, that actually sticks in there pretty nicely. Yeah, and blade's still sharp. So considering how light that is, it actually doing pretty good. Then we'll check this guy, and I wish it was a little bit heavier because honestly I think you could throw this pretty nicely if it was just a little bit heavier, but it's nice and light and actually feels pretty comfortable in my hands. So yeah, actually sticks pretty well. Oh, blade bent a little bit on that one. So yeah, as you can see, I can kind of just put it right back into place, and it's still sharp, but the blade did bend a little bit. So let's see if I can stab that again. So it still works even after that. Actually, that kind of straightened out the blade just doing that again. And then the last one is this ice scraper, kind of knuckle knife thing. So yeah, you can see it kind of just sliced into it a little bit. It wasn't overly comfortable on the hand though. It's almost like this is too thin back here, so it was kind of digging into my palm. So not overly comfortable, but actually did a pretty good job, like kind of digging into that wood. So I like that. Let's go back into the room and just check out a few more items. All right, so the next weapon I wanted to show off is actually something I've been pretty curious about and I've been wanting to look at a little closer for a while now, and this is the hidden twisted blade baton. If we look at it, it looks like a pretty solid little baton, and we'll measure that out really quick. Looks like it's right around 17 inches. The baton has a glass breaker at the end, and that's pretty solid. I'm pretty sure that's a steel, probably a stainless steel, but it feels good. And then what's cool about it is we can kind of untwist it, And then you've got that just amazing looking blade. I love this thing. It's got that spiral blade, definitely a stainless steel blade, fairly sharp on the edges. And the tip's actually really sharp. But then you can just take it and screw it into the handle, and you've got a much longer blade. So let's measure this out now. That is roughly about 26 inches. So I don't know, that's pretty sweet. But then here's the other thing. It actually has more kind of hidden stuff going on here. So I'm going to go ahead and unscrew this. And now we've got another blade in there. And we can take that blade and screw that into there. So now we've got this like kind of double-bladed knife, which is pretty awesome. Or we can take that blade off and screw that into this handle. And then we've got two knives. So I don't know. This thing is pretty awesome. I love this type of weapon where there's kind of like hidden things going on. But then it's so great how you can just kind of collapse it down to what it was before and just make it a compact little baton. So I think that is so cool. I'm just going to do that really quick just so you can see how easy it is to get back to its original state. There we go. So we got a nice compact baton. That thing's super solid. You could do some damage with this thing. I actually like it a lot. So I'm going to put that away and look at something else. Oh, and then it's got this nylon case too, which actually feels like a pretty sturdy nylon case, so I like that. All right, so the next thing we're going to look at. So I've been doing Weapons Wednesday for probably about 7-8 months now, and one of my favorite things is that we premiere the YouTube videos every Wednesday at 8 a.m. my time, Arizona time. And I kind of talk back and forth with this group of people who are on there every single week. And I've just become really good friends with them. And there's, I would say there's probably about 10, 15 people who just kind of comment on every single one of my videos. And they're just so supportive. And you guys know who you are. And I just really appreciate it. And one of those people, his name is Jaden, and he asked me to show off this item this week, and it is called the Demon Hunter War Knife. And I've actually never opened it up or seen it before, so thank you, Jaden, for coming up with this idea. We'll just see how it looks. So I didn't take time to unwrap it before this video, which is good because then it'll be a surprise for all of us. But let's take a look at it. It looks like it's pretty well wrapped, so this might be more difficult than I thought, but okay, it's not that bad. It actually looks pretty sweet. Wow, it just cut right through that plastic. This thing is sharp. Okay. It's a 440 stainless steel. It looks so interesting. This is totally like steampunk type design. I guess some of the things I noticed immediately are it has this knuckle guard on it. It's really solid, so that would definitely protect your hands if you're going to use it. And what's interesting is the handle. Like, I'm used to these wrapped handles where this one is actually this wood. I don't know what type of wood this is, but it's definitely like got a red stain to it. But it feels like it's a fairly hard, dense wood. And I like it. I really like it. And I love a lot of these little accent pieces it has on it. Like these little screw head things, these little nuts. Pretty neat. The blade itself, ooh, that's sharp. That is really sharp. I'd be worried about cutting myself if I ran my finger across it. But that is one of the sharpest blades I think I've ever kind of reviewed before. And yeah, the tip is really sharp too. Considering how simple this weapon is, I actually love it. Yeah, just feels well made and good quality, so I like it. And again, this is the Demon Hunter War Knife. I guess one of the other things I really like about it is full tang. This is all one piece of metal that has like a handle hooked into it. So, Jaden, cool sword. I like it. Thanks for coming up with the idea. Oh, and then let's look at the sheath for it. Okay, now it's supposed to be a leather sheath, and it is leather. But that's not, like, I don't know how good a quality that leather is. It feels kind of like a little bit cheap for leather. But as long as it does the job, and it looks like it's going to hold the sword nicely. Yeah. So that's in there pretty nice. And you know, for what it is, that sheath isn't bad. It just, you know, when I think of a leather sheath, I think of something like really high quality, genuine leather. And this just feels kind of like, almost like cheaply made. But the blade itself is awesome. So don't let the sheath discourage you. But the blade is pretty awesome. So, all right, let's look at something else. Okay, so the last item I have today is the Dark Night Stun Baton. And I've been kind of dreading it a little bit because I know with every stun gun I always have to get shocked, but I'm just going to be honest, I've been taking so many shocks lately that they don't even faze me anymore. I just kind of just do it. But let's look at this guy. So first off, this is a really strong military grade aluminum alloy that this is made from. So yeah, that's actually really solid. That actually kind of hurt my hand. You can see it got red there. It's got a very unique design to it. I like that. It looks futuristic or something. But you can tell that's solid. And what I like about that too is this is an LED baton, so you know you're not going to break any bulbs or anything. It's actually going to stay intact. So I think that's pretty sweet. The handle, it looks like it's a rubberized grip on it. Feels really nice and comfortable. So it's got this kind of like, well, it's got a couple of things. First off, it comes with this plug, so you can just plug it in to charge it up. And it comes with this optional glass breaker on the end, which is something I have not seen a lot of on stun guns. It actually kind of screws into the back and turns it into a glass breaker, which is nice if you ever had to escape a vehicle or something. But the thing about that is when the glass breaker's in, you can't turn on the baton because this is kind of like the safety power switch. So you turn that on and you can see immediately the lights turn on there. And it's got a couple of modes. So, all right, so you can look at the wall here. I turn it on and then it's got different light modes. So it had high, medium, low, strobe, and then it's got this actual like SOS light pattern that's doing the SOS sign. So if you ever needed that, that's there. So pretty cool. I mean, I honestly have not seen that before with one of these batons. So I think that's a pretty neat feature. And then you turn that off, and then to stun, you just push this button down and then push this button, and then it stuns. Now, the specific stun baton is supposed to be 100 million volts, which is the highest I've ever heard of in a stun baton. But if you've watched any of my stun gun videos, you know that I do not take volts seriously. It's just something that the manufacturers put on the stun batons to make them seem like they're more powerful than other ones. You really got to pay attention to things like amperage when you're talking about the amount of pain that a stun baton will inflict. Because volts, all that's going to do is it's just going to be the amount the spark can go through your clothing. So even though it says 100 million volts, I know this is going to be powerful just because you can hear it, but it's not 100 million volts powerful. But still, as you know, with every single stun gun, stun baton we have, I always have to test them out because I don't want to sell anything that's not effective. So we're just going to go ahead and test this right now. I'm going to hand it to my assistant and she's going to go ahead and shock me. So Yeah. Even though I don't get as bothered by it as I used to, it still hurts every time. She got me in a little bit different spot than I'm used to. It's kind of weird. She usually gets me either in the stomach. Oh man, I'm just got kind of that. Or she'll get me in the forearm. She got me right here, which was like almost like a funny bone, like pressure point, and it just like quaked my whole arm when she did it. So yeah, definitely painful, definitely effective. What I love about this stun baton is she only held it onto me for a split second, a fraction of a second, and that thing hurt really, really bad. In fact, you can kind of see like on my arm, there's some red spots kind of coming out where she shocked me. So it's definitely effective as far as that goes, but what I love about this stun baton, and I'm still like shaking, it's crazy, but you could use this as a different type of weapon if you had to. This is a full out baton. So just a really good, effective stun baton if you're thinking about buying one. So I like this, I think it's awesome. But if you have any questions on any of the weapons I showed off today, definitely leave them in the comments below. And be sure to check out KarateMart.com for all of the other weapons we carry, because we carry so many interesting and unique things on there. But until next week, we'll see you Weapons Wednesday.